Welcome to Steel Horse Station. I hope you are well. Uggsy made it at the beginning, and Mark as well. What a great way to start out. Hope you gents are both well. Looks like John is not doing too well tonight. He is, or this morning, he appears to have taken himself off to hospital. I know he was having some tests last week, so I hope he's okay. We are on Silverrun, and it's harvest season. And I know you expressed surprise seeing as you're there the other day, Uggsy. That's where the roller coaster was before it burnt down. So it's well and truly gone. And can I jump over it quickly to... Have I got any vehicles? Yes, I do. No, I don't. I don't have any vehicles over there. Where are we? Here. And this was the old sawmill, and it burnt down in the same fire. So we've put in a bit of effort reusing the land. The BGA slotted in fairly well. But tonight's plan is, if we have a look at the map, we will see that we're just harvesting Eddie's field there, and we've got more crop to get off our main fields along with East Waffle. To do East Waffle, we'll need to, and the rest of these fields, which have corn on them, we will need to hire the hillside harvester. But for now, let's get cracking with the Gleaner. Yeah, I find it helps me remember what they're called, which I started doing it a little bit when I was making videos, because I kept forgetting little things that it was enabled me to sort of remember key aspects of the story. We might as well just take this straight off here. So the Gleaner's still going strong, thanks to Pleasant View Farms. When I first started naming the fields on here, I actually named them what I put into them. So it kind of helps me keep up with my crop rotation. How are you doing today, Mark? No more scrapes on the car, I hope. Only dinted pride. We should have quite a bit of crop this year. Throw it all in the silo for now and figure out what to do. I did remember to sell the soybeans, so that's why we've got some cash in the bank. So in addition to leasing the hillside harvester, I want to put some well, the fact that you can push it back into some sort of shape suggests that at least it was a steel bumper. I know when my young bloke ran into the back of his boss's truck in his little Corolla, the plastic bumper didn't come off well at all. Ouch. I don't know what it is with vehicles hitting houses. It seems to have become a much more common thing in the last, I'm going to say 5 years. I don't remember growing up ever really seeing any news of any significance about vehicles hitting houses, but I don't know if it's just people get distracted. Learners, you can kind of understand mixing up, you know, kind of part of being a learner. You hit the wrong pedal and there's nothing in your way, you're going to drive through it. Yeah, maybe also more distractions for the drivers, I guess. So we're halfway baled over here. We will have more straw than we know what to do with. But it did move most of our sugar beet to the sugar factory. So it's steadily, in fact, you can see must move those pallets over there. Kind of not terribly clever of the ice cream factory to stack the produce out in the sun, but we have now got some chocolate and strawberry ice cream kicking out, and as we learnt last time, that pays pretty well. Yes. Yes, I've got one of Bob Newhart's double albums somewhere kicking around. From time, the very first one of his that I heard, Driving Instructor, is very entertaining, but the very first one I remember hearing as a kid was The Security Guard. And it's his first day at the Empire State Building when King Kong makes an appearance. And it is just very clever. And so unique. Like, it's just one of those ideas that he had. Now, what have I done with the truck? There it is. I knew it was around here somewhere. Very much enjoyed your chat with FSG and Mr. Sealy P the other day. That was, apart from being just a good dynamic and collection, it was some really interesting commentary with the three of you bouncing stuff around. What am I doing? I want you. Oops. I got the feeling that Mr. Sealy P enjoyed it as well. Oh, cool. I'll look out for that. FSG seems to be very chucked with his flash new chair. Serious piece of engineering. Now, what job do we want to do? Ah, very good. Yeah, what do we got over here in the ice cream steaks? I'm guessing that that's going to be strawberry and this one will be chocolate. There you go. Very nice. What we might do is go and get those out of the vehicle we want. Actually, if we got the, oh, the other one's got bales on it, so let's just take this one down. So the forecast for Germany's rain, you're taking the British rain across there? I hope it's less humid than when I passed through Frankfurt last August. God, I couldn't believe it. It was like stepping into the tropics. So we sold our soybeans to the diesel factory, not that that'll have any benefit for us, but we got a reasonable price for them. What's the UK forecast for the coming weekend? I'm curious to what weather we can expect at Silverstone. Welcome along if you've just joined us. Great to have you in. We are going to be doing some more harvesting in a minute. I just want to get some of this ice cream out of the sun. Dry weekend at Silverstone. Excellent. Well, that'll be good. Little bit of pressure on Red Bull for the first time in a while, and Max goes back to being Max. Just a bit too heavy, are you? Can I get you on there before you tip over forwards? That's how we want them to go. That'll sort of work. Kind of interesting. It's a measure of how close they are. That is judgment, sort of the red mist descends, because when he had a comfortable margin, and when I say comfortable by F1 standards, you know, I observed last year even is, why does that one, let's just do them one at a time. When he had a comfortable margin, he would happily drive round people, but today his idea of defense is, well, we'll just crash. I readily admit I'm not a Max fan, of course. Yeah. Well, Horner's not going to say anything. That would just get Joss in his ear. Let's put you in the center. Ah, wrong way. With any luck in the next few days, get my joystick mount sorted out. I can leave the keyboard behind a little bit. We can probably zoom in a fraction there, can't we? Make it easier. It's a bit crooked. Never mind. Down. This is probably all it can produce. I suspect we'll probably run out of milk. It seems to produce at quite a prodigious rate. That's it. Yes. I mean, to introduce a little bit of balance, there was a fair amount of aggro building with Norris as well, so. But at the end of the day, I've been quite impressed over the last few weeks in particular at his ability to race aggressively but leave room for the other driver. I think he's fairly gifted in that respect. There you go. Now, how many we got left? 4 left. I reckon if I put 4 more on there, we'll overload the truck. Oh, absolutely. Well, and as Norris pointed out at one point, you know, Max was waiting until he saw in his mirrors which way he went and then changing the line. And it's kind of like, well, I'm pretty sure that's exactly what you're not supposed to be doing, Max. But never mind. It just meant Oscar was a couple of laps short. And George got a good reward for hanging around. So 7,000 and being in the right place. So all in all, it was a fun race. It was a good race to watch. I enjoyed it. Right. That's the harvester that we want to lease on the end there, the Laverda. We should be able to deliver our ice cream to the shop here. There we go. Quite lucrative. Drive you back. Whoops, there's a log there. Hopefully, actually what we should have plenty of money to do. We need to lease it today. We do, because we need to look at when the corn will be ready to harvest. Actually, because we need the diverter to take the corn off, but also just pop you around the back here. If we have a look, and corn's got a bit of growing to do. What is the growth season for corn? Where are we? Oh, it doesn't harvest till October. So we really don't want to be grabbing the oats out of that East Waffle fields until as late as we possibly can, because otherwise we'll just incur a couple of extra months of the hillside harvester. So so the priority is, let's take the Gleaner across the road. Where is the trailer? Right there. Sim Briscoe's given me a sneak peek of where he's up to with the oaks, and that's coming along as you would expect. My initial idea of how I was going to do the next generation. Yeah, exactly. It is the same. I had a plan of how I was going to do the next generation for the Putneys, which didn't survive contact, or the broad concept survived contact with the updated map, but as you'd expect, I will have to modify it a little. Where do we want to put this? Let's just put it over here. Whoops. Let's watch where we're going there, champ. I opened the map with the premium expansion active. What am I doing? Why am I at this field? I don't want to be doing that field. I'm not paying attention, that's why. And one of those larger fields had red beet in it, and I thought, geez, that, having just battled through on Panya last week to do parsnips with the 4-box planter, I don't think that's necessarily going to be my thing. Come to the conclusion that doing those premium edition root crops is all about a handful of rows in long runs. So no corners, you just go up and back a few times, and that gives you enough product in boxes to be able to make something work. I'm actually seeing the bones of it occurred to me that I might be able to get Gilles and his video series take a step forward, given they've been on pause. Not entirely sure, but it would be good to put a little bit of video together, get some practice again. Also got conscious that I almost got to the point where I could I did have enough hours to register with YouTube, but of course I'm still in the mode of going backwards now because my peak viewership was, 10 months ago, and so now every week it's actually dropping rather than raising. Not that I've got enough subscribers to be worried about it, but it's just one of those little measurement hurdles. I found it interesting on his updated version of the map, the change in the colour of the brickwork in lots of the places where I was used to being alters the feel. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, it's just different, but it did feel a bit different. For example, the Putney's original house that I used is now red brick rather than a sandstone. So it just sort of gave the surrounding neighbourhood quite a different feel to it. It was quite interesting. And it looks like he's got his train working, so that was circling around at the bottom of the map. I haven't done any work on it. I promised him I'd run a few things just to do some testing for him, so that might fit in over the next week. I have no idea what schedule he's running to. Welcome along. I see a few folks have snuck in. We are in July. As you can see, we're harvesting wheat on this occasion. We've got the 2 and a pocket handkerchief fields to do over there. We'll get through those. I'll jump over and grab the truck in a minute. Farm Simbarisco, speak of the devil. I was just saying to the good folks here that you were exceedingly kind and offered me an early look at where you were up to. And that it's, well, Argsy made the comment, it's the same but different. Some things feel the same and others feel quite different. Whoops. Let's try not to drive on my crop. Let's go get the truck, shall we? Wherever you are. A question I had for you, FSB, I noticed there were no prereq mods. Are you modeling the buildings now yourself, or have you done a deal with someone to help you with that? Yeah, I can imagine, well, I can only imagine how much work is involved. I sent you a message back in Discord, by the way, down the bottom near the trains, where the train goes through the sugar mill area. There's a little floating building that I'm sure is not what you intend. Which way do I need to go in here? I always forget. With this trailer, it's a problem. Which one are you? Work our roads in. I could probably unload both of those once if I could figure out how. The thing that's stuck in my head as a first impression, and I haven't played any time on the map, it was because I was scouting out locations for how I'm going to fit the next generation Putneys in. and the pig farm will work a treat. It felt big. So, I mean, I know it's 4X map and that it felt, but actually on the farms, the buildings felt big. I don't know if that was something that you are going for, or whether my imagination was just sort of caught out because of the juxtaposition of things that looked the same and things that didn't. What is happening? Oh, that would be a vehicle under there. Good on you. How about you go through? But yes, those that old brick texture that you've used definitely creates a different feel. In some places. And there's lots of wet farm tracks too, which I like. Ah, is that what it is? Yeah, there's certainly because the Putneys have moved forward, they've got some bigger equipment. Yeah, well, that was how I kind of noticed, because I was aware that on my first playthrough I was playing with smaller stuff and that was fine. I had a great time with it, but this time the tractor I got from the shop was a Fendt 1000, and I drove into the main shed area and it still felt small, and I'm like, these sheds doors are enormous. So now I understand. Oh, cool. Are those, I didn't look yet. Are those sheds in the buy list in the shop? So can you add them? Excellent, excellent. Because that would be the only issue. I've had that challenge on here. You go and modify something which sort of works, and then you want to add to it, and because you've changed the dimensions, all of a sudden everything else that comes in that's sort of a somewhat standard size looks wrong. But that'll be cool. So some could say you were in the poop. think I was looking around on farm managers, so I didn't do a new farmer look. Grant, welcome along, sir. Great to have you in. Hope you had a fine weekend. We are just getting some wheat under control, and it's a beautiful day here in Silverrun. Having a bit of a chat to Farm Sim Briscoe about his impending completion of the oaks. That sounds like a fairly successful campaign, Mark. You guys were running that on almost real time, weren't you? Or 5-day weeks or something along those lines? Seven-day months, okay. Yeah, I was interested at the time you all got started, but I just couldn't make the commitment. Made a new commitment last week. I signed up for bridge classes. Should really be watching that. Always wanted to learn how to play properly, so they only run for 6 weeks starting in August, so, and they very conveniently, it's nice being a retired person, they put them on Tuesday mornings. Very civilized. It doesn't clash with bingo. John's our bingo master. Housey is not a term I'm familiar with. You'll have to explain. It could be. It's not a set I frequent. Is that a big night out for Mr. and Mrs. Argsy down the housey hall? Too much excitement. Now, one of our regulars, John, who is to take himself off to hospital today, but he regularly calls the bingo for the ladies at the community centre on a Monday they're in Yorkshire. Welcome along. Someone's just popped in. Great to see you. Just giving the trusty Gleaner a workout. Yes, it is. It's done long-term duty, this machine. It was washed before we started harvesting. Got an interesting dirt mask on it. Danny Rick had a better race, Grant, which is good to see. And you probably will, Argsy. Could yet see lots of things change if Perez can't get closer to max. I can still see it well within the realm of possibility for that to be the shortest contract extension in history. Not that I'm suggesting Danny Rick would then go to Red Bull, but it would open up the seat for lots of things. Yep. It's a long season. There's a long way to go. And it's quite clear that there is very little between the cars once they get them performing in their window. So, or at least at the front of the grid. I mean, what was it? Was it sprint qualifying? It was like 2/10 between the top 8 cars. It was ridiculous. It's not a lot of margin. So, you know, over time, you'd expect consistent drivers are going to be rewarded. I mean, it's one of Max's hallmarks. Norris has been very consistent. Hamilton's usually very consistent. For a guy without a confirmed seat, Science is amazingly consistent. Let's stop there. Fields aren't quite big enough to justify using an auger wagon. And this trailer's a bit annoying to use at the silo for an auto unload. Let's have a look, just make sure we don't have anything else to sell today. So, we've got tons of straw. Where can we get rid of straw? That's where we've got it. What's the straw profile look like? There's only 2 places to sell it. Ah, dear, very funny. So you've got piped sound effects. That's too cool. FSB. Just in case you're wondering, so those crates sitting in the middle of the cow's pen just there, two of only 4 objects that I couldn't figure out how to hide when the sawmill burnt down. It's quite weird. I can hide them with object hider, but they come back the next time I start. Oh, you want me to go for a lap of the map FSB, and we'll just get that Jake brake kicking in. I think I put it in a message to you, FSB, but if there's any particular aspect of the oaks you want me to give a workout, just list them down. In Discord, and I'll make sure I cover it off as I work through. I'm just experimenting, setting up the pig farm as it will play a central role in the Ponies Mark II. A bit dusty there. We're making good progress. Back there. Continuing on Pioneer the other night with that harvester that I was using for the parsnips, I had a couple of interesting little glitches that I hadn't seen. So there are a couple of times when refilling the harvester with boxes, it's supposed to do 4 at a time, it would only put 3 on. cowshed on which farm? And if you'd already done this, apologies because I didn't see it, but it would be, I reckon it'd be helpful to name the farms and give you some reference points other than field numbers on the maps. Okay, Mark knows which one it is. Sounds like he's all over that. But it strikes me that many of the British farms I've ever had anything to do with, and there's not many, but most of them all had names. Still not paying attention. Bit bumpy. Let's try and get it in the hopper there. Full truck. Cool. Another 40,000. So that's full ticket of oats. Now we're going to have plenty of wheat. There you go, FSB, just for you. Is the geometry of the plane actually a plane, or is it a cube? Would be my question if that's the challenge you are having. You might find you've got a cube there. been having interesting fun trying to get my rentable farm tracks looking even vaguely sensible. Which is involved. Yeah, well, that's always the first objective, FSB. I usually manage to disqualify myself just because I get errors. Let's go around this side. Empty on the way past. Yes, well, I managed to confuse myself totally in Blender the other day. Very disconcerting. Now, what do we want to do here? Let's take a break from harvesting for a mo. What I wanted to do, so harvesters. So that's the one we want ultimately to purchase, but we're not going to have enough cash anytime soon. We're working on our hill fields. There's not much to do in terms of config for it. Oh, okay, so I reckon we'd go for the extra horsepower. There's no real advantage to GPS given the shape of the fields. And the lease cost of that is 20 grand, right? So that's what we don't want to lease it for the moment. We can put the Capella corn header on it when we need to, and we will need to. We'll probably put the 20-foot header on it just to do that little field up at East Waffle. I think it's not very big. Don't know. Yeah, one thing we do need to do, there's 20 grand, let's call that 30 grand by the time we get the headers sorted. You won't get any abuse from us, FSB. And the haters will always hate. Now, I think we need to put 2 more bales on there. Because then I can take the last, what have we got in the field here? 3. Right, that will work. I was inspired last week after watching Argsy stack bales. far more effectively than me, but I did learn a couple little techniques. Oops, including hitting the wrong button. Run these over. Ah, yeah. Right. Let's see. That one. Hit it again. And across we go. Welcome along. Someone just popped in. Well, I can understand what you're concerned about. All I would offer is, I think if you evaluate success and failure that way, I think you're kind of guaranteed to be disappointed. I would offer a couple of observations. One, the Oaks was successful enough in its first implementation to have got a bunch of people that are interested in what you do. So I think you'll find they'll get on board regardless. And, you know, I think you should take your measure of satisfaction from them in the first instance. Secondly, the world you're delivering into is a different place than it was a year ago, so it's only reasonable that there's going to be a different uptake. That doesn't mean it's a bad thing, but until I would kind of look at it as an investment potentially in having a much earlier life map for FS25, which you won't know anything about until you yeah, there you go. There's a good idea from Mark. The until we actually see the new editor, you won't know, you won't be able to gauge what's required to take it to FS25. So whereas you'll be kind of, you know, you'll be there and ready, and just the process of doing it, I am certain, has improved your map making skill level. Soybeans here looking pretty good. Was the electric fence we put in last week for our cow livestock up here. I haven't done anything more to them. I plan to in just a sec. Guessing they've probably run out of feed just about, so we'll whoops. Need to put one of Argsy's stacks in. Kind of needs a little. I can't remember, Argsy, is your the Oaks Redux? The thing about it, I think, FSB, is because there was first version, human nature being what it is, people are going to compare. And that doesn't mean any individual opinion is right or wrong. It just means some people are going to like it more and some people won't. So that's just my tuppence worth. I'm glad you're doing it. I think it's cool to see the train working there. I like the placeables area that you've got at the base. There's a lot of scope for people to do their own thing. Right, now I've got to remember, where are the... Oh, I'm up to €4, Mark. Now we want only calves up here, so I reckon we put... I reckon we go another 20 Angus and another 20 Limousin. Turn our triggers off. That was one thing today. I got onto the Oaks and I hadn't loaded any mods, and I'm trundling around having a look at stuff, and it's like, where are the triggers? And I'm mashing my hotkey for my trigger button and they're not coming on. It's like, oh, seriously? I think you should be extremely happy with that. Your only other decision, and it's certainly not the... I'm just curious as to where they're spread through here. Where's the animals gone? Right, there's one. So they are spread through the bush, which is what I was looking for. So you've still got that. You've got that choice. You know, another option, I guess, is you could choose not to release it and, you know, make it available to on a requests basis. So if people ask, and you can just gauge demand, right? But people that you know, or that will help you in a way that you think is useful, and then you could switch your attention to learning something different to continue to enhance it to help prepare you for when FS25 comes along. That's certainly an option. I'm just trying to think what I really want to do up here. Because that's enough. They got enough water. Yes, they do. And they're not producing milk. Right. So let's have a look. The cow shed. We're going to go and sell some cows, I think. 44 months. I was going to keep them till they reproduced once more, wasn't I? Yes. Okay, so we'll do that. They're the calves that are down the bottom. There are the horses, which have got plenty of food, which is all I have to do for them. We don't do contracts on this map. Right. Let's bring that. I think the other thing is, whilst there's a lot of normal hype about there's a new product coming, therefore, you know, let's all move our attention to that. The reality for many people is that that new product is more than half a year away. Even if they buy it in December, the way they'll want to play it, if they're very experienced with farm sim, is a long way away. And so people that really like the franchise have still got 6 months more of gameplay. Yeah, I seem to recall watching Argsy, who was still kicking out. Was it Spectacle Island? I remember one series that, and given that I didn't start playing until after FS25 was available, there was one series that you were kicking out 19 content for several episodes. I mean, I might not get an answer from Argsy. He's quite possibly gone to do something else. I think it would be risky. Just Mark is probably going to be better positioned after this coming weekend to an extent, but I think it would be risky to make any assumptions about compatibility with a new version of, or requirements of a new version of editor. Because they're a small company. They're not known for their documentation or their consistent implementation of APIs, and that just makes it a lottery in terms of what the new version will be. What I would be pretty confident of is that there'll be a pathway, because if you look at it, that part of the value of their franchise is making it easier, or at least possible, for determined modders to move their stuff, because that, you know, just makes the game richer. So I wouldn't start making a new map per se unless you can get some sort of inside track on how that works. I would concentrate on things you've already talked about, which is, you know, just hone your skills either in the version of the map that you're currently working on, or in, you know, tools like Blender, because I don't think there's any downside to getting better at that stuff, and it is sufficiently undocumented and complex to keep most people busy for a while. I'm just walking around in circles because I'm trying to decide which job to do next. I reckon we're going to go and do some baling. Because we need to get the straw off here so we can turn this field around. Haven't decided what crop, but Jake's certainly thinking that grains and cereals are his gig. We sort of rack up the cash. We do want to open up some more fields and build up that cattle herd to a point where it's making some money. I think it's safe to assume that from the little they've teased us with so far, FSB, in terms of features like weather, potentially moisture, traction, deformable terrain, whatever the hell that could mean, they're all going to represent challenges for migrating maps forward, stuff that's going to need to be addressed. Worrying about how to address it before you actually know what the functions are and how they've been implemented, it's just, you know, layering speculation. I'd be confident there's sufficient smart people in the community that that stuff will become clear fairly steadily once the new game's available. I'll be very interested in if he gets anything, but I suspect they'll be fairly tight-lipped, because other than glossies that help them build the hype, I doubt that they'll want to be telling anybody much detail about anything. They're dreaming about 16x oaks. You see, it's interesting. I reckon 4x is my optimum size. Maybe that's because 98% of my time on maps is spent on single player. But I think it's more that the limit of I I like really immersive maps, and what I can see. I mean, the landscape here is big enough. Oh, that was one thing. The edges of the map that you sent me weren't as Wizzo, or that you sent me the link for, weren't as fancy and Wizzo as what you showed in the video. Did I get an old version? I was really looking forward to seeing how you'd done that. Now, I can understand if you held that back. That's perfectly fine. I did notice that in the screenshot opening, it looked like a kid with a crayon had scribbled on the picture, and I thought, oh, I wonder if he's gone for some unique keep track of which version I sent to people. We used to do that with tender documents. The 15th word on page 47 is changed so that we know who leaked what. But yeah, so I'm not in my FS journey, I don't find myself hanging out for 16x maps. I guess what I'd really looking forward to are the texturing that doesn't pixelate on just a 4x map. And bearing in mind this isn't a 4x map, but proper edging, because to me that adds massively to the immersive feel of where you are, and that just playing any sort of game environment, there's a limit to how far you can see. Yeah, the loading screen. Please, it wasn't a criticism. I just wondered if you were being really clever, and you sent everybody a different loading screen so you knew which map was which. Oh, that was another, changing tax for a minute, Mark, that was another script idea I had that I've got no idea how to do anything about, and that's a mod that puts some intelligence around the map menu, so that if I open the map, I don't have to, I've got some extra settings so I can keep it the size that I want, for example, or I can always return to it at full screen, so I'm not always zooming or otherwise. You know, a couple of hotkeys that take me to particular spots on the map. I reckon there's some scope for scripts to do all that sort of stuff. So were you just getting into the spirit of Giant's teasers with those fancy looking map boundary shots? Right, I think that's all the straw off here. Might as well unload you there. I can't undo that. Let's try that button. Got a fair amount of straw, didn't we? They're quite large bales. What's that? Argsy fertilizer. Ah, how about that? Plant it low and watch it grow. I reckon nah, it's cheap. It fell off the back of a truck, Argsy. Yeah, half my map boundary was white. I wondered if there was stuff missing. My tuppence worth farms in Briscoe, I reckon change it. The mildly detail focused in me found it it looked wrong when the surround didn't follow or wasn't congruent with the actual map itself. So I think either it needs to be a natural extension of the general, at least the road network, and sort of field spacings need to be roughly consistent with the main PDA, or make it completely different and put a bunch of other information around there. That'd be my tuppence worth. And you could put shots. I don't think it needs to be super busy. Because it's, you know, complex pictures, just something else to be rendered. I haven't tried selling anything on the train yet. I'll do that in the next few days. And what's your local rail company? Is it Northern Rail or? Whoever it is, I reckon that should be your off-map depot name. No, now that you mentioned it, it was white as in no image. Probably half the map. Thanks for sticking with us and watching, Hugsy. Appreciate that. Have a wonderful trip to Europe. I look forward to seeing the content that you and the guys toss out and live vicariously through your experiences. I'll just stick with the F1 now that the basketball's finished. Oh, we've got a bit of Tour de France to watch as well. Hey, John, good to have you. Does the fact that you're back mean it was just tests and nothing serious? Argsy was just in here saying that he's really looking forward to catching a few games of bingo while he's in the UK. I assured him if he got up your way that you'd look after him. I learned a new term. Apparently in New Zealand it's called housey. Okay. It was not a term I was familiar with. Hope the sounds of the baler aren't putting you to sleep while you've got them on drive music there. FSB. It is moderately cathartic. Sounds a bit like windscreen wipers. In an old car that I had. Yeah, we've had a few folks pop by. Most have been doing their own thing. FSB's been chatting about the new or the new old oaks. Which is coming to the end of its development phase. See, there's another one, FSB. Did you get a chance, Mark, to mull over the meringue edition? That's all right. There is no time attached. I was just curious whether it had triggered any first impressions. All being well, we'll be back at Panya on Thursday evening. Although I recognise some folks will be starting to head off on their summer breaks or holidays, school holidays in various parts of Australia, and people are travelling, doing heaps of stuff. That doesn't matter, we'll just have a chill session. I finished the parsnips, so there will be no more parsnips. Need to really, I will probably have to get the sugar beet off. Good to hear, John, good to hear. does anyone... so if I create... I now know how, obviously, to make a script mod and load that. If I want to make a mod that doesn't involve scripting, that is available for console, how do I actually get it to console to test it before I release it? Is there a workbench? I haven't been able to put my hands on one, and I was just wondering, it's the same process. So do they run it through a converter to... No way to test, so it's just a lottery as to whether it actually does what you... oh, it's the same mod. Okay, so there is no actual... It's just a straight zipped file that they package up. Okay, so it's XML enabled. Interesting. Right. That gives me hope. I have a curious idea. Yeah, that's fine. But the fact that it broadly works the same means it gives me more confidence that I might actually be able to make it work, which would be... That's if the overall concept works. It's to do with my experimenting with textures and learning about how that works. I have much more testing to do, but I will be far less cryptic if I can get a prototype that I can demonstrate. Right. Well, there's a whole bunch more bales that need collecting. The bale trailer. We should probably go and grab a bunch of those. Let's unload you for the minute. Let's drop you off there for now. Plenty of CMR there. We've gone through enough that just trying to think, where do I want to put them? Might as well just put them in the shed there, I guess. Really do anything with this land around here because it's the way it's treated. So if you come into Unfortunately, the way farmland is defined on this map, there's this big swathe that's unusable, inaccessible in and around the town. Actually that side of the road there is. So there is a verge there that I could. Interesting. Okay. Didn't realize there was a verge there, but that's been problematic as I attempted to work the old sawmill, the new sawmill, because you can't. It imposes some big restrictions on what you can actually do. So let's get across here, pick up a couple of these. So if I've got a tool that can put a zip file on my PlayStation, can I populate that in a Giants directory without breaking the game? Can't test it at all. Okay. Oh well. One step at a time. Let's see if I can make the concept work first. I just set myself a new challenge of trying to come up with an idea that would make Mr. Silly P excited, because I just think he's like a kid in a candy store when something appeals to him on his mod reviews. It's kind of like, that'd be fun. Can you make him smile or get excited? Right, 14. Let's do you. It's too early to sell them, so we'll just take them back to the bale store, I think. And I think this is where we might leave it for this evening. I'll just sneak in the back entrance. No, it probably doesn't help me, does it? Because it doesn't connect through. I think I put a fence there. I did put a fence there. Okay. There's a gate there, but it's only supposed to be in use when we drop silage. But for now, I think that's where we're going to leave it, folks. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching, popping in, keeping me company while we play tonight. I will be back in 3 days' time on Panya. doing goodness knows what. Haven't thought about it yet. So everybody that's traveling or heading off on holidays or somewhere else, have a great week. Otherwise, keep working, everyone. Stay safe. See ya. Thanks for watching.